talking about the lunar eclipse that happens on the night of May 25th. Hello everybody, I'm Tina Chaudry. Welcome to my channel and a very warm namaste. I make astrology simple so everybody can understand it. So there's going to be a total lunar eclipse at the night of May 25th, early morning, May 26th. Now these timings are US timings because the places where this eclipse is going to be visible is going to be North and South America. It's going to be visible in Australia, New Zealand, and parts of Asia, which is South and Southeast Asia. It's not going to be visible in Europe and India because at that time it's going to be daytime in those countries. So obviously a lunar eclipse is the eclipse for the moon, and so it can only be visible in places where it's nighttime. So that's when it's going to be. Now, based on California time, it's going to be at 1:11 a.m. So if you're anywhere in the US or anywhere else, you can calculate to see what time it's going to be, or you can Google it and see what time the eclipse is in your regional, wherever you live. But it's a total lunar eclipse, and this is the first time after 2019 that we're actually having a total lunar eclipse. Now, the reason it's very impactful is when there's a total lunar eclipse, the Earth and the Moon come very, very close together, and hence the impact of the Moon energy and the gravitational pull of the Moon becomes extremely impactful to us. And why is that? So we need to take a look at all the planets, all the houses that this eclipse is going to occur in or impact, and that's how we put the predictions together. So people that have watched my videos in the past know that in order to make any predictions, you have to always take into consideration the houses and the planets that are being impacted by any planetary event and the significations of those planets and houses, and then you put the prediction together. That's how you make astrology simple. So let's take a look at these houses and planets that are being impacted. So the first thing is the lunar eclipse is happening in the house of Scorpio. Now Scorpio is ruled by Mars, so Mars has something to say about this. Now the conjunction or the planet that's causing this lunar eclipse is Ketu, or South Node. So we need to discuss Ketu or the significations of Ketu. The eclipse is happening in the nakshatra of Anuradha. Anuradha is ruled by Saturn, so Saturn and Anuradha have something to say about it, or the significations of those nakshatras and those planets must be taken into account. So let's take a look at all these planets and nakshatras that are playing a role in this lunar eclipse. So the first thing is that it's happening in Scorpio. Now Scorpio is the 8th house of a typical birth chart, of not everybody's birth chart, but it's considered the 8th house. So the 8th house represents things that are hidden, things that we don't share, things that we hold close in our hearts, and secrets, secretive desires, also unplanned sudden events that happen, and also our sexuality. That's the significance of the 8th house. Ketu, which is causing the eclipse, or South Node as it's also known, is a very dry planet. It has no senses, because it doesn't have a head, so it doesn't have any of the nice senses. So it's a dry planet. It doesn't give out good energy. It's also considered a very separative planet. It causes a person to separate from material things and people. So that's the signification of Ketu. And then the moon, which is the main planet that causes, obviously, the lunar eclipse is caused by the moon. So the moon represents our mind, our emotional, our mental well-being, and our source of happiness. Actually, it also represents our mother. So as we're growing up and throughout our lives, typically our mother represents our happiness, or is a source of our happiness. So that's all these beautiful things that the moon represents. Now the nakshatra that it's happening under is Anuradha, and Anuradha is ruled by Saturn. But even though Anuradha nakshatra is ruled by Saturn, the signification of Anuradha is very tender, sweet, because if you listen to the name, it's Anuradha, but the name is Radha. Now, a lot of the Hindus would know that Radha was the consort of Lord Krishna, and she had this selfless devotion to Lord Krishna, which means hence this nakshatra denotes love, soulful love, undying devotion to your love, and it represents all beautiful things related to love, friendship, and undying friendship, and soul connections with your lover. So even though it's denoted by Saturn, you would think that it wouldn't be a soft nakshatra, but it's a very soft, devoted nakshatra. So did you notice that how there's Ketu, who's very dry, doesn't have anything to do with material things, doesn't have anything to do with love. And now here's the moon that has to do with love and beauty and happiness. And the nakshatra has to do with undying love, the beautiful love, and friendship. And how they're so conflicting. These energies are so conflicting and opposing to each other. Hence, this time when the total eclipse happens, we're going to experience that exact feeling in ourselves, which is the conflicting nature of love, not feeling loved, feeling abandoned, or the mental distress related to love relationships. And let me expand on that just a little bit more so people don't get totally confused. So during the time the eclipse happens, which could be on the 25th, the 26th, and a few days after and before, the impact of the lunar eclipse on most of us could be that we are mentally down. We feel a little depressed. We may feel lack of love in our life. Even though we're surrounded by our loved ones, we may feel emotionally down. We may feel the lack of love, like I said, and we may also question our loved ones. We may get irritated with them. We may get frustrated with them. Even though if you really look within your heart, you'll know that they do love me in general, but I don't feel loved like this moment. So this is why I wanted to put this video out, so not to scare you, but to tell you that if you're going through these feelings right now, it's based on, it's because of the impact of this lunar eclipse. It's going to make us all feel like that for the next 2 weeks. The major impact of an eclipse is usually the days around the eclipse, which could be the 25th and the 26th, and up to 2 weeks after that. There's a solar eclipse on June 10th. So up to that point, we may feel this impact in our lives. So not trying to scare you, but make you aware that you may feel this sense of abandonment from your loved ones. You may question your loved ones in your heart and go, does this person really love me? You question your loved ones and your love relationships. And that's not the time to do that. The best thing to do is just let this time pass and not take any action relating to love relationships, because it's only the eclipse playing this game in your mind, or making you think like that. It's not for real. It's this moon that's being impacted. It has a shadow on it, and it's like having a shadow over your heart or your mind, so to speak. And so you need to fight this tendency and get over it. And that's why it's important to know that this is going to happen, and then where you're able to balance out the feeling, this negative tendency, negative feeling, and just let it pass for some time. So what's the guidance that I can give you to go through these few weeks that maybe a little challenging to some people? Is to use your emotional strength to balance out your emotions, reset your emotions, clear out all that emotional baggage that you've been carrying about for relationships since the last few months. And I think emotional strength will come from spiritual, do something spiritual. I think that helps so much. It could be anything. Now, for some people, it could be meditation. For some people, it could be connecting with the divine, whoever they feel connected to. And for some people, if they're not into all that, for some people, it could be selfless service. You can do some donation, you can work with charitable organizations, you can do some service to people that need help, or just generally helping others. I think that elevates the mind and the mental happiness to a much higher level. So something spiritual during this time clears away all this crazy energy that the lunar eclipse brings to our mind. So that's the guidance. Again, stay very close to the divine if you're able to do that, regardless of what faith you believe in. Mantra practice, mantra and meditation practice is always such a great thing to do during the lunar eclipse time, or a few days before and after is such a great thing to do. And I am going to move on to very quick predictions for each of my ascendants. They're just going to be one-liners because it's a short impact. Before I move on to predictions, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe to my channel. There's lots of interesting videos coming up, like the solar eclipse and Jupiter's next move. It's such a great move. So make sure you subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and share it with as many friends and family that you can. So my first ascendant, Aries. Aries, this is happening in your 8th house. 8th house transformation and general feeling of dissatisfaction. So you may want to change something about yourself. Don't do it. It's a passing phase. You may regret it later. So just stay true to your divine. Do some meditation. Make sure you stay spiritual, and don't make any transformations, sudden changes to yourself. You may regret it later. Taurus. This is happening in your 7th house. So the 7th house represents your partnerships, marriage, business partners, and you may feel a little let down by them. You may question them in your mind and think that they're not all there for you, and you may want to even start conversations about that. It's not a good idea to do that. Just let them be, let the time pass, and then you'll know that they're really there for you. But it's not a really good time to start communicating and asking them and questioning your relationship. Don't do that. It might not go well. Gemini, this is happening in your 6th house. The 6th house represents enemies or who you view as competition, and also your health. So you may be very upset about, or maybe thinking a lot about who's your competition, who's your enemies, and you may actually be thinking about what to do about them. Do nothing about them because it's not going to go well. It's just going to bother you a lot, and you need to try to balance out your emotions, try to forget about them, and think about other things, because they may not really be your enemies, or they may not even be competition for you. That's your mind that's playing tricks. So just try to leave them alone. Don't do anything. Don't start anything. It will end really badly even if you do. So stay close to the divine, do some meditation, mantra practice, or if you don't do those things, then do some sports or something like that. Creativity, some health and healing through activities, fun activities. This time too shall pass. Cancer. Now Cancer, the moon is your ascendant lord, so sometimes the Cancerians get a little more impacted by the lunar eclipse because it's their ascendant lord that's getting shadowed. So you may have lots of different emotions, mood changes that you're going to go through, a general feeling of being let down or maybe disappointed. But most of this may come from, because your lunar eclipse is happening in your 5th house, it may come from children. You may feel like there's no connectivity with them, they're not communicating well with you, they're not, they're losing touch with you. Don't get disappointed. It's a passing phase. You'll come out of it. As soon as there's a solar eclipse that happens on June 10th, you'll come out of this feeling very quickly. Don't get into it with them. Don't try to poke and prod them and get them to, share things with you. If they love you no matter what, it's just a passing phase. Try to get over these 2 weeks quickly. Leo. This is happening in your 4th house, and the 4th house denotes general happiness at home and your home atmosphere, and that's where you're going to be very dissatisfied and very not happy right now with. So you may start thinking of, how do I change things? What do I need to make changes in the house, and so I become happy again? You need to do nothing right now because this is not the time for action. Just sit back, stay close to the divine, do a little bit of spiritual things, try to help others. Maybe you can start helping people around the house, doing things around the house to kind of make you feel better. Don't make any changes, even if you are feeling a little dissatisfied and unhappy at home. It's a passing phase. Like I said to everybody, it's a passing phase. And once the solar eclipse happens, you're going to be impacted as well because the sun is your ascendant lord. And we'll talk about that in my next few videos. But in the meantime, do nothing. Stay very close to the divine. Do mantra practice, meditation, and this too shall pass. Virgo. The lunar eclipse is happening in your 3rd house, and the 3rd house denotes self-effort, hard work, dedication, and that's where you're going to feel a little let down. You're going to feel like, I've done all this hard work, I'm putting in all this dedicated work, and my self-effort that I've been doing for months, maybe for a longer time, I'm not getting rewarded for that, or I'm not getting the recognition for that, and you may start feeling down. You may actually start not wanting to work, because the third house, when it gets impacted, it starts to make you feel lazy, because it starts to make you not want to work hard. So you may feel like that, like this is not worth it. What is the work even worth? So you may start to feel like that and start to feel down regarding your hard work. So don't let that bother you that way, and don't let it impact you that way. Keep doing the hard work, and that's how you win the third house, is by not letting it bring you down. So make sure you do the hard work, make sure you stay close to the divine, make sure your self-effort is just as much as you were doing previously, because in the end, self-effort always pays off, and the hard work always does pay off. Libra, this is happening in your second house. So the second house denotes family and savings, wealth, and earnings and income. So this eclipse is going to make you wonder if your savings are enough for your family, or do you need to make more money for your family? And generally family and wealth related worry and depression, maybe a little bit about it. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. This is a passing phase. And actually, you shouldn't do anything about your investments. Don't start to make changes all of a sudden because you think, oh, let me make some investment changes or, money changes because this is what I need to do. You should never, don't do that right now. This is not a good time to do that because the 8th house is looking at your second house. So they may not, turn out really well. I'm not saying what to do for your investments. I don't give investment guidance, but just in general, you should think really hard before impulsively making investment changes or monetary changes of any kind. So think hard. Don't let it get down to get you down, and your family is with you no matter what. And again, like I said, don't make any hurried changes, and don't let this period get to you regarding money or family. Scorpio, this is happening in your first house because the whole eclipse is happening in the house of Scorpio. So especially if your moon is in Scorpio as well, this is going to have a major impact on your moon and your emotional well-being, your mental feeling of mental health, I should say. It's going to make you very moody. Your emotional it's going to be like an emotional roller coaster for you, up and down, happy one minute, sad the next. So it's really like riding an emotional roller coaster. Relationship with your mother, you need to evaluate that, or stay very close to her. Make sure it's a very healthy relationship with your mother. Also, don't make any sudden changes. Don't act on sudden things. It's really not a good time to act on anything at all regarding money, your children, or any other relationships, marital relationships. This is not a good time to act on any feelings whatsoever, because your feelings are just so haphazard and all over the place. They're not reliable feelings. So it's not a good time to act on anything or have any kind of important communication with anybody, because these are fleeting moments, these are fleeting changes. So just stay quiet, stay by yourself, connect to the divine, mantra practice, deep meditation, very good for you. Maybe some selfless service is good for you. Let the time pass. There's going to be a solar eclipse, and Mars actually changes houses, which is your ascendant lord, and by the end of July, and things will be much better by then. But in the meantime, the guidance is do nothing and let the time pass. Sagittarius, this is happening in your 12th house. Now, the 12th house generally represents expenses. So you may be worrying about expenses, monetary expenses, but also emotional. You may feel emotionally spent and exhausted as well at this time. So the expenses are not just monetary, but emotionally you're spent and exhausted from things, from everybody. It could be from work, it could be from people, it could be from relationships. So definitely you feel emotional draining at this time, and that's how it's going to feel. Again, like I said, it's the only guidance I can give everybody at this time is to do something spiritually enlightening, or that helps at a spiritual level. So again, deep meditation is the best guidance I can give you for you, because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Going to gurus or following a guru that you believe in, or going to your father and getting good advice from your father, staying connected to your father, it's a really good idea for you as well. So just general positive things in your life through guru, God, and your father is good, and staying true to yourself, meaning to the divine, or whoever else you choose to believe in, is going to be really good and be maybe emotionally uplifting for you. Capricorn, this is happening in your 11th house. Now, the 11th house is my personal favorite because it represents such beautiful things. It's wish fulfillment. It's your network of close friends. It's your elder sibling. It's also desires being met. So, but lately, I think Capricorn has felt like nothing really positive has happened, especially with, maybe monetarily. So the best guidance for you is to actually reach into your close friendships, your close network of people, and connect with them. And, if you're feeling depressed, down, or you're emotionally going through, some sort of up and down feeling, I think that if you reach into your close friends, your close, people that you're close to, maybe a sibling, an older sibling, and, share your feelings with them, I think this could be very helpful for you. Again, like I said to all my ascendants, spiritually connection, with your divine, meditation and mantra practice is going to help everybody. But again, for you, reaching into your network is also going to be really good for you and helpful for you. Aquarius, this is happening in your 10th house, and the 10th house denotes career and profession. So thoughts about changing what you're doing in your profession or your career, because you're not going to be suddenly not happy with it. So a lot of you may be thinking, well, I'm not happy. Should I make changes? What changes should I make? And so my guidance is make no changes, because this is a very fleeting thought. These are just temporary thoughts that are going through your head. And so it's not a good idea to act and make changes based on, just the sporadic thoughts that come through, impulsive thoughts that are coming through your head. Do nothing, absolutely do nothing. Try to just calm yourself down and try to find what's good in what you are doing right now. And every time I've talked about career, some people will come back to me and say, well, I don't have a career. I stay home. I'm a stay-at-home, mom or something, or I'm retired. And to me, a career is what you do all during the day. So if you're at home during the day and you take care of the home, that's your career. So when I say that you're going to be dissatisfied with it, then you could just be dissatisfied with doing that, and you say, well, what changes can I make regarding that? I'm not happy doing this. Should I make changes about that? So a career can be anything. You don't really have to go to work to be called a career. So the guidance for Aquarius people is find the good in what you're doing. Think of all the good things that you have or you're doing, and don't make any changes, please. But like I said, again, my guidance to everybody is just, stay spiritual. This time shall pass. And last but not the least is Pisces. Pisces, this is happening in your 9th house. So right now you're going to be very confused about your luck. Like you're going to you might be thinking, luck's not on my side. Also your life path. You may be very confused about what life path should I take? Should I be doing different things in my life? And why is my life not moving where it should be moving, or where I think it should be moving? So those are the kind of thoughts that might be actually coming into your mind and making you a little maybe depressed or emotional or just not happy in general. The guidance for you would be to, take the advice of other people. The 9th house generally represents advisors, gurus, and your father also. So if you're feeling a little bit down, then I think it's a good idea to take the advice of, whoever you feel you can trust, especially your father. Stay close to your father. Get his blessings and ask him for advice. Go to him. Also, staying close to your dharma and your guru is always a good idea to calm your mind down, and then get the luck factor, as a flower falls on me, and get your luck factor going. So that's the best thing. The flower falling on me is such a good luck for you. So again, stay close to the spirits, the divine. Do mantra practice and meditation is the best guidance that I can give to the Pisces people, because the 9th house does represent a lot of the items related to the Dharma. And this brings me to the end of my video. Please do give me a like if you liked the video, and share it with friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And stay safe, stay healthy, and goodbye till my next video.